in Iron County, and we're just thrilled that you're here, so thank you. We're going to turn the time over to Joe, and he's going to give us a little background on why this center and a little history that is going to be intriguing. So, Joe.
Okay. Hello, folks. Thanks for coming. Just a little bit of how we wound up here. We loved Cedar City when we came through and had lunch one day, traveling around the nation, doing skating activities with my daughter. Let's see, the reason for the name here was that my family and my family, you know, my dad's family, and we are the Ursinis, and we came through Brooklyn. So I thought I would do a little bit of research, which I did, and give you a little history on Brooklyn and how Brooklyn has affected all of our lives. So first of all, as I went and found out where did the name come from. It's an odd name, Brooklyn. So according to the webpage and some Brooklyn website page, the name came from a Dutch word, Brooklyn, which means broken land. And if you go to Brooklyn, you'll find out there's all kinds of islands and little inlets and all kinds of sea inlets and stuff like that. And so the Dutch, way back in the early 1800s, called it Brooklyn, or Brooklyn, and it got anglicized to Brooklyn. So, how is Brooklyn relevant here in Utah? A little bit of history on that is that at the turn of the century, last century, 1900, not 2000, there were more than 5,000 manufacturing businesses in Brooklyn, New York, which was really impressive. But Brooklyn also had a Navy Yard, which has built some of the most famous American ships that have sailed, at least military ships, because it was a Navy Yard, so they built, you know, Navy ships. So back in 1851, anyone who's studied the Civil War knows that there was a great fight out in the Atlantic between two ships that were the first steel ships around, because they were all wooden before that. So that was the Merrick and the Monitor. And the, try to remember, the Monitor was actually built in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. So they built the first steel ship in America. Then, later on, in fact it was 1909, out of that Brooklyn Navy Yard came the USS Arizona, which anyone who's been to Pearl Harbor knows that came in, you know what the memorial is there in Hawaii. And so that ship came out of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And so when I was saying that how it affects all our lives is that this little bit of history out of this little part of America back then created lots and lots and lots of things and consumer products. They're some of the very first radio companies to make radios. In fact, RCA came out of Brooklyn. And there was a very famous radio company that made a specific type of radio. We don't use this kind of radio anymore, but one of the very first commercial available radios was made by Grebe, Grebe. They're not around anymore, but they create, you know, they had their plant in Brooklyn. Actually, it was right on the corner of Brooklyn and Queens. So that's my little history for Brooklyn. And I thank you guys all for coming, and I guess we should do our little hard hats and groundbreaking here. Anyone have anything they'd like to ask me? Say? Comments, jokes?
Congratulations.
Hey, well, thank you.
When are you expecting to be completed?
We are expecting to be completed this time next year.
Perfect.
Yeah, working through all the tangles and issues on financing and you name it. But it's happening.
And they're going to be rentals for businesses.
These are business rentals. The only one that's not a rental is our rental office, which is over here. That's going to be positioned over there.
Okay.
But they all have industrial power in them, so that someone doesn't come in and go, I'd like to rent the space, but I don't have the power. Now I've got to spend $50,000 to put power in.
Perfect.
So this has got the power in it, particularly those two buildings up here, the two standalones. They both have 500,000 watts in them, and they're intended for data centers.
Perfect.
Excellent. Whoever's been invited,
All
come
right,
on up.
let's dig.